Check it out. Always wanted my name in lights. How cool is that? Anyway, from the marquees to the actors to the vintage cars to the street lights, it really is the attention to detail that all the visitors who come here really enjoy, as our Bill Ritter found out. And Bill right now is over at Epcot.
Good morning again, Joan. You know, about 25 million people come to Walt Disney World every year. Many of them return time and time again. And as I found out, it is not by accident. This is part of a well-planned Disney business strategy.
They call it a magical place, but there's nothing magical or accidental about the $3 billion a year success of the Disney World theme park. Everything here, it seems, is by design, from the look of the costumes to how people wait in line, from the constant presence of Disney's animated film characters to the strategic location of the gift stores. And yes, even to what people are called. They're not workers, they're cast members, and usually smiling. And these aren't customers, they're guests who spend a lot of money. The business strategy is simple. Try to convince customers they'd like to be guests again. Linda Warren is Senior Vice President of Marketing, who started here 23 years ago as a ride operator.
Everything is planned. We want people to come in and be transformed and leave all their cares at the door. And so we just want to transform them as soon as they come in.
Congratulations and welcome to your first day here and to tradition.
So that everyone who works here gets that message, all employees go through a kind of boot camp.
We are a fun company. We're an entertainment company.
It's called Disney University, and you're getting a rare look at the classes that introduce workers to the Disney way of doing business, including the so-called Disney look. Strict rules about what workers can wear and look like, top to bottom, from jewelry to hats, shoes to sunglasses, and especially hair on men. These are acceptable styles. These are not. And if a guy's hair is deemed unacceptable, he can march to Disney's underground barbershop called Kingdom Cutters.
And is my hair acceptable or unacceptable?
It's close. It's quite full, so we would have to taper it in a little bit closer to look more of the Disney standard.
I just got a haircut like 3 days ago.
We still have to bring you down to Disney look.
Oh, I like my hair like this.
These guidelines may seem extreme, but Disney executives say if they didn't insist on them, the product would suffer. Disney University Director Jane Parker.
If it naturally happened, I think anywhere you or I went, any business we went to, any place we ever went to be served, we would get excellent service. People would realize we're there because we want to be served and we want to have a great experience, and that doesn't happen to you or me every place we go.
Wall Street seems to agree. Entertainment analyst Chris Dixon.
Well, the issue is to maintain quality control, to maintain an image, to reinforce that Disney brand, and at the same time, to give people a reason to come back. There's a comfort level in knowing that you've been there before, and there's a comfort level in knowing what you're willing to expect.
And take a look at the ultimate in Disney planning, an entire town called Celebration. Designed by Disney, its vision of the perfect American city. It's a self-contained, privately run, and completely planned community for about 20,000 people, just minutes from the theme park. Of course, not everything Disney creates works. Its planned historical theme park in Virginia was virtually run out of town by local residents. And while things are now running smoothly at Euro Disney outside Paris, the French were far from hospitable when the park opened a few years ago. Disney says it has learned from these experiences and moved on. And in Florida, the magic goes on by design.
Let's go! Beautiful rainbow for the 25th anniversary, and for Disney, a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. Analysts say tourists will spend here in 1996 about $3 billion. Joan?
All right, thank you very much, Bill. Coming up on Good Morning America. Oh, can I borrow that?
Sure, Dal.
All right, we're going to talk about how to avoid the crowds and save money when you come to Disney World. I didn't take it. The lady gave it to me. We'll be back.
Looking to save time, money, and avoid crowds on your visit to Disney World? Well, we have a guest who will tell you just how to do that. She is Alexandra Mays Birnbaum, the consulting editor of Birnbaum's Travel Guides, including the official guide to Walt Disney World. It's good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
Everybody wants to know how to save money, so why don't we start with some money-saving tips?
Well, saving money means planning ahead. That means checking out the possibility of buying a package so that the components will cost much less if you buy it as one complete group. Realizing that down here you have a choice of 18 resorts, and in terms of prices, they start at $69 at the All-Star Sports or All-Star Music. That's $17.25 if you've got 4 people in the room. Go to full-service, self-service restaurants instead of the full-service restaurants.
Yeah, sure,
You'll save money. If you want to splurge and go to the fancier restaurants, go to them at lunchtime, where the entrees often cost less.
How about saving time, Alex? The place is so huge and there's so much to see.
You've got to plan ahead, Spencer. I mean, the idea is to know the layouts of the parks before you get here. And if you don't know them, then pick up one of the maps as you enter the gates. Check out where things are so that you don't spend all of your time figuring out which attractions you want to go to. When you go to the attractions, if there's more than one line, take a look at the line on your left. It almost always is shorter.
Why is that?
People instinctively go to their right, so the one on the left is going to be shorter.
Very quickly, people tend to think of Disney World as a place for families, but what about attractions for couples or singles, couples without kids and singles?
Well, this is where we are right now is a great place, because here at the Beer Garden over at the Germany Pavilion, if you're in groups of singles or just small groups, they seat you together, so it's a good way to meet people. Go over to the Disney Institute for a day. Take courses. Great way to meet people, or if you're couples, it's wonderful for adults. Also, there's a lot of romance here. You can have candlelight dinners for 2 over at Victoria and Albert's, over at the Grand Floridian.
It's a wonderful place, yeah.
Absolutely. And there also are places where you can have glasses of wine.
And if you are traveling as a family, some quick safety tips?
Safety tips. If you've got young kids, a good idea is to pick up a special name tag. Fill out your child's name so that if your child gets separated from you, it's very easy for one of the staff members to pick the child out. Also, each of the parks has places at guest relations where they keep children's lost log books.
That's important.
So that you really can check them out. And if all else fails, plan to meet at a particular time during the day where you're all going to get together just in case you've been separated.
Okay, great tips. Alexandra Mays Birnbaum, thank you very much. And when Good Morning America continues, we've got some music for you. Peebo Bryson and Regina Troop will perform one of Disney's most popular songs, A Whole New World from Aladdin. Stay with us as Good Morning America continues from Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Disney World is celebrating its 25th anniversary today. 25 years of doing business here in Orange County. And although it has been a wet start to today's activities, that hasn't stopped folks here. They have persevered. If you take a look, you can see the folks are now getting underway. Preparations, they're setting up the seats for today's big celebration, and the highlight, which is the rededication of the Magic Kingdom. It'll be a big parade featuring all your favorite Disney characters and also a big marching band. They'll all be gathering for that parade, which begins this morning at 10:30. Now, as you can see, the party is all set to go behind me. The castle has been transformed into a huge birthday cake, complete with 25 candles in honor of this celebration. Of course, we'll bring you a live report of all of this later today on Eyewitness News. For now, I'm Cynthia Vega here at Disney World.
And of course you want to know, will it rain on that parade? Jim Barrick has the forecast coming up. I'm Charles Gibson. As I hope you know by now, in Walt Disney World, where we are here to kick off their 25th anniversary celebration, which will be going on for 15 months every day. And so many people have visited this park feel nostalgic for it. We have cameras everywhere around Walt Disney World, and we thought we'd give you a little visual tour. That, of course, is Main Street, looking back towards Cinderella's castle that is now all gussied up as a birthday cake, with 26 candles on, 25 for the years that they have existed and 1 to grow on. And there is a shot of the area called Rivers of America, where normally the paddle boats are moving around in the water. I'm sure many people have taken that ride when they have visited here. That's in the Magic Kingdom theme park. And now we've gone over to the Epcot Center, the second of the theme parks here. And that is a shot from the World Showcase, the national pavilions that surround the lake over towards Spaceship Earth, which is really the signature building in the middle of Epcot. And that is a helicopter shot of same. Pulling back. We've had a little bit of rain here this morning, but it's clearing now. And this is the third theme park, the Disney MGM Studios. That's the Hollywood Tower, the Tower of Terror that Michael Gillen gave you a tour of a little bit earlier in the program, showed you how it works, and you see the beginnings of the crowds that are beginning to come into the park that opens at 8:30 in the morning. Little visual tour there. That takes you around a lot faster than the monorail will move you around, and we visited there all 3 of the theme parks here at Disney World. In this half hour, we're going to be talking to Michael Eisner, who is Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company. We're also going to tell you an interesting story about how the Disney Company almost abandoned what is its bread and butter. It is known for the animated movies, obviously, and a few years ago, Disney almost got out of the animated movie business. Joel Siegel will tell you what happened in just a few moments. Also a song from Peebo Bryson and Regina Troop, one of the signature Disney songs, this one from Aladdin. But But first, we check up on the news of the morning, and Elizabeth Vargas is standing by with that.
Well, for more amazing stuff, and check the weather with Spencer, who's there with a troupe of his own acrobats.
Yes, that's right, Elizabeth. I'm in a very exotic place. I'm in the land of China right now in Epcot, and I've got some amazing acrobats with me. Let me show you what they can do. These are the Huyan Acrobatic Troupe. They have been performing since they were very, very young. Members of this group begin their incredible balancing act as young children, and they train for more than a decade. The members of this group are from the Henan province in central China. Each year, new members join, and they leave their homeland to come here and dazzle the Disney audiences with their gravity-defying feats. Unbelievable, the Huyan Acrobats. Now we're going to table that act, and I'm going to step into my role as weatherman. Take a look at what's happening around the country. It's going to be a warm day. Next, the rise and fall and rise again of Disney's vital animation business, as Good Morning America continues from Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Good Morning America, live from Disney World, continues in a moment.
Students of the movie business know that Disney's involvement with animation actually began in 1928 with a short called Steamboat Willie that starred a mouse of some prominence. And of course, there have been many memorable movies since then. The first movie I ever saw was Pinocchio, seen it only about 50 times since. And the Disney people have been very much involved with animation ever since. But was a time when the Disney people almost abandoned their involvement in animated pictures. Joel Siegel is over at the Disney MGM studios to tell you what happened. Joel?
Charlie, if you grew up in the 50s, and I know you did, this looks just like home. And if you grew up in the 50s, you grew up with Disney animated characters. But yes, there was a time when Disney came this close to quitting animation. And it wasn't that long ago.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all?
Say bird.
More than great animated films, these films have to be considered on any serious list of the greatest films ever made. And as long as Walt Disney was hands-on involved, or pen and pencils on, magic happened. In the 50s, he was busy planning Disneyland. Sleeping Beauty was the first major animated feature to be made without Walt's touch, in humor and humanity. And it shows. And he knew it, so he was hands-on again, head over heels in the Jungle Book. And it shows. Disney died in 1966. This would be his last animated feature.
Just the bare necessities of life.
These animated features are more than just films. For 3 generations, they've been the first films we've seen, with characters, memories, even feelings we carry with us the rest of our lives. Then in the 70s and into the 80s, Disney animation went off track. As a critic and a fan and a kid whose favorite movie was Pinocchio, one of the hardest things I've had to do. A great American art firm was dying, and I was one of the crowd who'd gathered to sign the death certificate.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to give a Walt Disney cartoon a bad review.
With a black cauldron, the fabled Disney animators seemed all burnt out. The studio actually considered leaving motion pictures entirely.
Certainly no cost was spared as far as just the visual look of the picture and the special effects and all of that. But to me, what was hurting was the heart and the real soul of the stories and the characters.
But 1 year later, Mark Ken was drawing a character called Ariel. A new regime had taken over.
We attribute this quite frequently to Roy Disney, who is...
This is Roy Jr.
Roy Jr., right. And Roy talks about the 3 things you need in order to make a great Disney animated feature, and they are story, story, and story. It was going back to what made a great Disney feature. It was going back and finding it.
And Mark Ken would animate Belle, Pocahontas, and young Simba. The Lion King is the top-selling video cassette of all time. According to Video Business Magazine, all 5 top-selling videos are of Disney animated features. Barely 10 years after the studio came close to closing its Burbank studios, a new animation facility at Disney World is producing its own animated feature. The Renaissance in animation means new characters for the theme parks. The magic is back for another generation, at least.
This amazing run of features, 6 and 7 years, from Mermaid to The Hunchback of Notre Dame, unsurpassed even by Walt Disney himself. And for the first time, other major studios, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, have animated features either in production or ready to be released. The reasons for the renaissance really are story, story, and story. Of course, a little genius, never heard either. Charlie?
All right, thank you, Joel. This park, Walt Disney World, looks much the same as it did when it opened 25 years ago, or at least parts of it do, but my goodness, how Joel has changed. Since 1985, that clip looked much different. When we come back, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company, Michael Eisner, have a chance to talk with him when Good Morning America continues. Stay with us.
When they're in character? Never.
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 Not even to you.
I have been in a limousine with Mickey Mouse going to the White House when we were driving around the block about 3 times, and I kept saying, I know you're in there. Are you a man or a woman? Is it hot in there? Say hello to me.
Right.
Nothing. I said, look, I'm the chairman of the board. I can change the rules. Speak to me.
Still won't do it.
Zippo. Nothing.
That's funny. 25 years ago, actually more than that, when they first started buying land, and Walt Disney had this image of building this theme park because he was so landlocked in California, didn't have enough land, couldn't have afforded it. People said it won't work. Central Florida, you're not near the beaches, it's swampland, can't happen. Why do you think it did? Why do you think it worked so well?
I think his attention to detail, even though he didn't live to see it open, he had left a culture and a philosophy for excellence, for guest service, for fun, he knew he wasn't curing cancer, we were just going to have a good time, and his landscaping concepts, and it just is done really well.
It is a phenomenon. I was saying earlier, I suspect it probably is the most phenomenal man-made vacation resort that's ever existed. And it has provided a lot of jobs for this area. It has certainly meant boom time for this area around here. Why are other areas, do you think, so wary when the Disney people say we may come in? I'm thinking, obviously, of the park in Virginia that you had proposed a couple of years ago.
Well, almost everywhere we go, people are not wary. I mean, if I go visit my in-laws in Jamestown, New York, the next thing I see is a headline is Disney's coming to Western New York State. I think everybody really wanted us but the Washington Post. We ran across a big barrier and it said Hunt Country, and people were a little nervous that maybe we would trivialize history. But we are going to develop the things that we had for Disney's America in Disney's California Adventure, at least how it relates to the West in California, where they're a little more used to us. Why we were a little Disney-esque for the Beltway, I think.
Tell me about, everybody talks about the positive parts of this. Tell me what's wrong with Disney World. Is it too expensive?
Well, I don't think much is wrong with Disney World. No, it's not too expensive. What you get here for what you pay, the amount of time, the amount of attractions, the amount of things that you don't pay for once you pay your initial ticket is much less than even a movie ticket where you go for 2 hours. What's wrong on occasion is it's too hot. It's often very crowded. The biggest thing that's wrong is you have to leave. As a parent, sometimes it's a little tiring after your 4-year-old has had a long day and he's cranky. That could be hard.
Walt Disney envisioned this place as someplace that would never be finished, that there would always be room to grow. Is there an economy of scale here? Can it get too big?
Well, I've been here about half the 25 years, and I think we've more than doubled it. We've, I don't know, put $3 or $4 billion in the ground. We've opened up maybe 19 hotels, 2 theme parks, 2 water parks, Celebration in Newtown. I think you've talked about a little bit the Disney Institute, which was inspired by Chautauqua in Western New York State. No, I don't think it can get too big. It can get too sloppy. It can get too badly done. It can get, the cast members can get too surly, none of which happens. But I don't think it's too big. I mean, we have a land size that gives us a palette on which to draw that is wonderful. We don't have to worry, for the first time in my life, we don't have to worry about can we get that piece of land and is there going to be a building right in front of it in 3 years.
Your favorite ride when you're down here?
Oh, geez. I think the last one we do always... the newest. The newest. It's like the last child.
Yeah.
That birth is always nice.
Sure. Michael Eisner, good to be here. Nice to talk to you. Thanks for being with us. We take a commercial break. When we come back, Peebo Bryson and Regina Troop with a song that I think you'll recognize. Good Morning America continues after this.
Besides all the wonderful animated classics in the theme parks, it's the Disney tunes that we all remember. And right now you're going to hear one of the best by Peebo Bryson and Regina Troop, A Whole New World from the movie Aladdin. Walt Disney World 25th anniversary celebration in just a moment.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Oil of Olay.
Well, the gang's all here now. We got the big boss, Michael Eisner. Thank you so much for letting us come down here.
With all due respect, we got the big boss over here.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is the board of directors here, the whole gang.
Mr. Mouse, Mr. Duck, thank you ever so much. Peebo, Regina, thank you. We'll be back in New York tomorrow. We had a terrific time. Hope you did as well. We'll see you tomorrow from New York. Till then, take care.
Bye-bye.